Happy Wednesday, everybody. So today I switched over to my cellular before I started because I'm already having issues with Wi-Fi. There's something about Wednesday afternoons around 2 o'clock. My Wi-Fi starts doing weird stuff. Anyway, today, I know you're probably getting sick of cards, but I wanted to show you how to make another card. I am making cards like crazy lately because between high school graduations, college graduations, and just sending out 2 or 3 random cards per week, I figured I could make a ton of cards with all my little scraps and leftovers. As a matter of fact, the card that I'm making this week, I'm using my leftover Picture My Life cards. So Picture My Life is like for pocket scrapbooking, you know, those things that pocket scrapbookers, hold on a second. So pocket scrapbookers, these just kind of, you put your pictures and things on them and slide them into slots like in a photo album, and it's a faster way to scrapbook your pictures. And so they make these packs of cards that are 3x4 and 4x6 so that they slide really easy in those slots. Well, you may have noticed on the club layout this month, or in May, I used those Picture My Life cards on the pages. Let me grab one. So I didn't save one for myself, of course, but basically what I did here, this is a package getting ready to go out to someone else, so let me take this apart. So for example, this is a Picture My Life card using the stitched set, and then this is a Picture My Life card. So I use them as journaling areas and photo mats, and then I have another one that I just kind of tacked on here. Everybody received a different layout this month because I was using some of my scraps and some of my papers. I can't make them all identical all the time. Let me get that out of the way, because otherwise I don't have like a dozen of the same thing. But you can get the idea. These are two-sided, so if you like, they're usually horizontal or vertical. You can see it changes depending on the card. Some of them my taste, some of them not my taste, but they are great for card basis. So this is something you could do. As a matter of fact, on a couple of the layouts, I even took this butterfly and I cut it out. I did like a little fussy cut and then used it to make a dimensional element on some of the pages. I really like these small ones. They're really nice for journaling. And so you have a lot of options with these. So these are the ones from the Stitch Together kit that I had left over after I did all of those pages. So it comes with a lot of cards. And I decided to use them to make some cards with. And so today, I'm going to set that aside. This is the card I'm going to show you how to make. So, hi everybody. Hi Heather. Hi Noelle. Hi Stephanie. This is a sliding pop-up. So, when you pull on a tag pops out the top and a message shows up at the bottom, and your central image pops up. So let me kind of turn it. You can kind of see it. It almost looks like the easel card that we made, and it looks so complicated, doesn't it? It looks hard, but it's really not bad. And the idea for this I got from a card that I made for our Hostess Club a million years ago. You guys might remember this set. It was many years ago. But same thing. We had a tag set, we had a floral set, and I just put them together and made this sliding pop-up. So I want to show you how to make it. And I know it's probably weird bringing back the old like that. But basically, let me set that aside. You start with a card base, just your standard card base, right? Eventually what will happen is we will shut this and seal it right here, and it'll be, you know, it'll be almost like a little tube to hold our pull-up. But you don't want to do that yet, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is you go through your Picture My Life cards or your scrapbook paper, and you pick a design that you like. And it doesn't matter if you do it this way or this way. It kind of depends on your central image. This one has flowers and a flower and a butterfly if I wanted to do it that direction. And then I kind of like this one because it says best friends on it. I think that's really cute. And so I decided to use this. Now the other thing I didn't do to this one yet, let me trim it. I didn't want it to be quite 4 inches wide because, you know, my whole card is only 4 1/4. I wanted it to have a little of the pattern showing. Okay, so when you adhere this on, it's important to get a lot of adhesive. So normally I do not use a lot of adhesive on cards because people just toss them in the trash. I know that sounds terrible, but you know, you don't really know what is somebody going to do with your card, right? They could keep it forever and cherish it, or, you know, it could end up in the circular container. All right, so I'm just going to center that onto the card. And I put quite a bit of adhesive on it. And so the next thing I'm going to do is, when we put our tag in there, we need like a little easy way to grab it. So I'm going to use my handy dandy circle punch again. This is a 1-inch punch, but you could use whatever. And basically you're gonna kind of eyeball it, center it, have it pop up. And we're just gonna make like a little thumb notch. You don't have to do that, but it really does help. Right? Oh yeah, Heather said this is looks like a great idea for someone with inks in storage. Oh yeah, you could totally, like this one, I just random stamped the background. If you're gonna use a paper background, make sure you adhere it before you do all the cutting. It makes it a lot easier. Now the next part is probably the hardest part, if there is a hard part. Here I am with my cutting mat, my ruler, and my X-Acto blade again. And basically, I do not do exact measurements. You guys know I kind of eyeball things, but if you want an exact measurement, you want to cut about 1 inch in on each side and cut 2 stripes. So if you use your ruler is about 1 inch. You could hold it up to your score line like that. Now the other thing, you don't want to cut all the way, right? You're just going to cut this side off. So you just want to cut up about 3.5 inches, okay? So I'm going to start around, you know, here it's a 5.5 inch card. So, I'll just go up here. The main thing when you cut, you want to cut to the same notch. This is not an exact science. It doesn't matter if you go up a little higher or down a little lower. So here I am at about the 2 1/4 mark, going down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, about 1 inch from the side. And I'm going to go about the same amount. See how I just sort of eyeballed that? Now, the other thing that makes this, now you're done. that's all the cuts. I'm gonna leave this green thing on the screen just for a minute. I want to show you something. I have my kitchen scissors here. See how I kind of made that error kind of with that blade where I cut it twice or whatever. This is something you can do to make your card actually slide easier, is cut just a sliver extra. And since I kind of did it anyway, I'll show you what I mean. All right, so if you just cut a little tiny extra piece, see how there's just a notch there? You do not have to do this. It does not have to be this way. It can fit exactly perfect and still work fine. But I have found that if this is really snug, sometimes it's harder to slide. And so it's kind of nice to have just a little tiny bit more. The next part is folding, and we're gonna fold it up. Now, the main thing is, like if I line this up with my grid on my cutting mat, I want this to be a nice even fold, right? So if I don't want it to be wonky, in other words. And I often use like my bone folder to really reinforce that, okay? So that's the first fold, is basically just to fold it up. Now, at the very bottom, you're gonna need about a 1/2 inch or so. This is not exact science either, but the idea is you kind of need something for your tag to adhere to at the bottom. So approximately this 1/2 inch. And so I'm gonna fold it up too, like this. Now, did I measure that? No, it's not. It doesn't have to be that perfect. It can be a little less, it can be a little more. It doesn't really matter. But basically what you have now is you folded it up like this and you folded down the bottom a little bit. The very last fold is just to fold this in half. Make the folds meet. Do you see that? So we're gonna fold it here and make that fold meet. That's the hardest part of the whole thing, is trying to figure out the fold, right? So basically you fold it up, score, do the 1/2 inch score, and then you have like, make a little tent like that and score. So those are the only folds. I hope you can all see that pretty good, because it's kind of weird, right? So there is our card base, and it is ready. It is done. So the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna set that aside for a moment. You need something to use as your tag, right? Something to pull. And I'm using a colored piece of cardstock, and it does not matter what size it is. It can be wider than you want, whatever. But I just cut like a 2 inch piece because my tag that I'm using is 2 inches. The tags I'm using are the garden tags, which is the stamp of the month. And I just fell in love with these tags. So I think I may still have one more of these if you're interested. Sorry, I just saw somebody else at my house and I got distracted. Okay, sapphire ink, and I'm gonna tap, 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 kind of do a little smoosh. Whenever you have stamps like this that are not used a lot and they're really new, you either need to ink them up and stamp them a whole bunch of times just to make sure there's no oil left from the processing, or, you know, close to my heart is always like, rub it on your skin first, and that gets rid of the processing slickness of the stamp. It gives you a better image. The other thing you can do to make sure you get a good image is to use one of the foam pieces that come in your stamps, and that's nice too. So I'm just going to do this at the top of my stamp set, or at my top of my tag, and I'm going to push and give it just a minute to absorb. Now obviously on this smoothie cardstock, it's not going to look quite as bold as it would on white, but pretty good. I like how this looks. Now I want to make this into a slider. I'm going to trim this just so it looks more like a tag. You wouldn't have to do that if you didn't want to. I don't even know if people notice stuff like that. I like it. And then I have my gigantic hole punch. Sorry, it's really big. But basically it just cuts a hole this big. And I'm going to use a little bit of ribbon to make a pull. When you want to make a pull tag of ribbon, what I do is I fold it in half like this, and I thread it from the front with the folded part, right? And so this makes like a loop, and then I feed the tails into the loop, and it makes a little like pull tab, and it's pretty secure. The other thing I like to do is make sure that my my ribbon tails are trimmed to a decent length. So there you go. Cute, right? All right, so this is exactly 5.5 inches long. Whatever piece that you're stamping on to pull up, it cannot go past your card. So you don't want it any bigger than the 5.5, which is your standard A2 card size, right? Otherwise it's gonna show, and it's gonna show a lot, and you won't be able to fit it in an envelope. So it doesn't really matter how wide it is as much as it does matter the length. So make sure that it's 5.5 inches. The only place that this tag is attached is on this little tiny 1/2 inch-ish fold that we made earlier. So I like to use really strong adhesive to adhere it, and I'm using a liquid glue. You could use like the mono glue, you could use the red line tape, right? And then you want to make sure when you adhere it, I have the card open like that. I have it glue only right there. Can you see that? I'm going to put this tag on here and adhere it. And you want to make sure it's, you know, facing forward. So it looks like it's all upside down right now. If I screwed this up, I suppose I could restamp on the other side again, because the only place it's attached is that little tab, right? Can you see that? It's only attached right there. That's it. So now our card is essentially done. The bulk of what needs to happen is done. When this pulls up, you can kind of try your slidey mechanism and make sure it slides, and the only part it's attached is right here, so you can see it moves. So the other part is when you pull this up, it leaves this blank area in here, and you can leave it blank and use your writing, write a note, sign your name, or you can decorate that with a stamp. Now, I really love this set. This is the Sentiments by Melissa Esplin. You know, they have that contract with Melissa Esplin for some of her stamp sets, and I've been using these often. Some of them are more stained than others because I used them with dark ink. But overall, you may have noticed that you've received some cards from me maybe using this. I chose the thank you set, and I'm going to put that. I kind of feel like when the pop-up is done, you need something here, and so I used thank you right there. The other thing you could do, you could just put a bow there. You could put nothing there. I mean, it just feels like something needs to be there, and so that's why I used the thank you right there, just so you know. That's what I did on that one. The other sentiment that I used on the inside, you know, it has to be small. So with every catalog close to my heart puts out something called a petite perk. These petite perks are consultant only, and they are all different and random, and I buy them for my hostess club, so that it's just a special thank you. This one says, your kind heart makes mine happy, and I thought it was perfect for this, and so I'm gonna ink it up, and then you want to make sure it's pulled up and that you're stamping near the bottom. Now the other part of this is, you know, kind of keep in mind where am I gonna assign or whatever, and sometimes, you know, I'll write my message and sign on the back. But and I wanted to show you, I used the marker. This is the pale pink blend, and there's, you know, light, medium, and dark, and I just used the marker to give the heart some color. I just like it. Ta-da! Okay, so the only thing we're missing now is the actual pop-up part, and when this pops up, you want to make sure this thing is not, you don't want to just adhere it down or this won't move. The only place this adheres is right here. So let me just kind of show you with a pen. This section right here is the only place where adhesive will go, because you want it to pop up, and if you have adhesive anywhere else, it won't, right? So again, I'm going to use my liquid glue. And I'm going to lay this, kind of make sure it's flat, and I'm going to put this on so that it's kind of centered. Remember how I trimmed the edges off just a little bit. And make sure that glue is on good. There. Okay. And now it slides. Isn't that cute? So it pops up, and you can see the flowers, you can see the message at the bottom, and as it slides, the image pops. Isn't that cute? It's not too bad. You know, I think I made this card in under 5 minutes. What took me so long with this one was more deciding what I wanted to use. It took me longer to find the PML card I wanted to use than it did to actually make the card, right? And so these things they're so much fun, and you can do anything you want to add to it. You could add gems, you could, you know, anything. So isn't that cute? Look at that. Thank you. I just love it. All right, so that is my card today. I showed you using PML cards. I showed you a marker. I've shown you a couple of stamp sets and how to put on a ribbon. So I think those were all the things I had on my list. I know you probably already know this, but anyway, so if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I am trying to figure out if I want to start showing more scrapbooking pages on my live, because I know that you guys would love to see more of that. It just takes me a little more prep time, and so I'll get my act together here and do this. So it won't all be cards. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for following me. I appreciate it. Bye.